Hello, myself Dr. B.J.D. Kalyani, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this video, I will discuss regarding the data design. This topic learning outcome is mapped with the course outcome of CO4, which is understand importance and need of design and explain the various approaches of designs. The basic agenda of this video is what is architecture, how data and control are important for the architecture, and majorly concentrating on the data management and what are the views of the data and what are the recent trends in the data management. First, we will discuss regarding the architecture. The software architecture generally presents complete structure of the software and where the components of the project are placed and how they are related and how they are exchanged the data is pictorially represented with the software architecture. The architecture is the structure of the program modules where they interact with each other in a specialized way. So the aim of software design is to obtain an architectural framework for the system. The features of software architecture is analyze effectiveness of design in meeting its stated requirements. The requirements that are gathered in the analysis phase after applying the requirement engineering process, the validated requirements are considered for the design, which will leads to the software architecture development. So consider architectural alternative also at a stage when making design changes is still relatively easy. Reduce the risk associated with the construction of the software. The risk elements are proactively identified and risk mitigation plans must be carried out when looking into the software architecture. So the software architecture is relative to various components. They are the IT environment, the hardware and software requirements of the project, human dynamics, who are the end users and how they are interacting with the project, business strategies, the business rules that are applied to the domain of the project. For example, if you consider the banking domain, generally the rules of RBI can imply the business strategy. Similarly, these rules for each and every business organization should have specified domain and complexity. Those implies the business strategy of the project. So by considering these various design alternatives or architectural alternatives must be considered, where the project manager is helped in making the decision, and variety of quality attributes are considered for the software architecture development. These quality attributes are the major important functional non-functional requirement of the project. The quality attributes are generally the functionality, usability, reliability. Functionality means it evaluates the feature set and capabilities of the program. So, for what purpose are what services are provided by the project is focused in the functionality. So, the objectives and scope of the project must be examined and the project should be developed to produce the intended functionality. Usability is another quality attribute which is accessed by considering the factors such as human factor, overall aesthetics, consistency and documentation. How easily the users can acquire services from the developed project is majorly concentrated in the usability. The aesthetic and cosmetic features of the project can also be concentrated in the usability. Next quality attribute is reliability. It is evaluated by measuring parameters like frequency, security of failure, output result accuracy, the mean time to failure, and the recovery from failure, and the program predictable predictability. So here the reliability is ability of the project to withstand a failure. So the time span to withstand a failure for a project is generally concentrated in the reliability. This can be implied on various parameters like MTBF, mean time between failures, MTTF, mean time to fail, MTTR, mean time to repair. So these parameters must be considered in order to assess the reliability of the project. The next quality attribute is the performance. Performance is measured by considering processing speed, response time, resource consumption, throughput, and efficiency. So, how many instructions the project can be able to execute per a unit of time, the throughput, as well as how the response time and services offered to the customer, and the time complexity, space complexity of the algorithms plays a major role to measure or evaluation of the performance. The next parameter is the supportability. It combines the ability to extend the program, adaptability, serviceability. These three terms defines the maintainability. So the maintainability re-engineering concepts are majorly focused in the supportability, which uh, in turn can reply the testability. So the configurability, compatibility are the terms that can be generally focused for the testability. So here the comparability of the developed project with variety of the hardware structures or processing capabilities and various web browsers and operating systems can be tested, and the supportability can be estimated in the in this quality attribute. Variety of architectural models are available. They are the structural models, framework models, dynamic models, procedural models, function models. So the structural models are generally represent architecture as an organized collection of program components. So the modules, how they are placed, how they are called, and how they exchange the data is focused in the structural models. The structured programming languages generally used to support these structural models. Next one is framework models. They can increase the level of design abstraction by attempting to identify repeatable architectural design frameworks that are encountered in similar types of application. So, variety of framework activities, the major framework activities and umbrella activities, how they are performed for the construction of the software is focused in the framework models. Variety of process framework models are available like waterfall model, incremental model, evolutionary model, unified model, agile software development. The next variety of architectural models are dynamic models. Address the behavioral aspects of the program architecture, indicating how the structure or system configuration may change as a function of external events. So, the developed project, how it reflects to the external stimuli is focused in the dynamic models. So the behavioral or the runtime aspects of the project is focused in the dynamic models. Generally, the sequence diagram, state chart diagrams are used to model the dynamic features of the project. The next variety of architectural model is procedural model. Procedural model focus on design of business and technical processes that the system must accommodate. So, the technical capabilities as well as the business requirement depending upon the domain of the project is considered, and the computational processing capabilities are produced with the procedural models. The last one is functional models, can be used to represent functional hierarchy of the system. So these are the variety of architectural models. What is the importance of architecture is it represents the software architecture and which can enable the communication between all parties interested in the development of computer-based system. So the major means of communication between the stakeholders is the software architecture. The architecture highlights early design decisions that will have profound impact on all software engineering work that follows, and an important ultimate success of the system is an operational entity. And the architecture constitutes a relatively small, intellectually graspable model of how the system is structured, how its components work together. So, pictorially, it can handy a representation of functionality of the project. The goals of the architecture is expose the structure of the system but hides its implementation details and realizes the use cases and scenarios. These are gathered during the analysis phase. Try to address the requirements of various stakeholders. Handle both functional as well as the quality requirements and non-functional requirements of the project, like the legal as well as aesthetic, security, performance features of the project. Reduce the goal of ownership and improve the organization's market position. Improve external confidence in either the organization or the system. The levels of architecture generally during the requirement model, the basic elements that can be identified are scenario based elements, class based element, behavioral elements. Those elements are mapped to the analysis from the analysis model into the design model. The design model majorly consists of data design as the basic bedrock for the process, and the architectural design, interface design, and component level design. Variety of diagrams can be used in the analysis model to represent the behavioral static aspects of the project. So the state transition diagram, data flow diagram, entity relationship diagrams can be used for this purpose. The data dictionary is the center kernel of the project, which will provide the backend of the project and has greater impact on the execution and providing of services to the customer. So the levels of architecture is data design enables us to represent the data component of the architecture. Architectural design focuses on the representation of structure of software component and their interactions as well as properties. Architectural style is a set of principles, and this is named collection of architectural design decisions that are applicable in a development context. So, constraint architectural design decisions that are specific to a particular system within the context elicit beneficial qualities in each resulting system. So, the major component in the architectural style are how to control the component and what data the components can operate. Thereby, the data design occupies major concentration during the development of the project. The purpose of data design is defining the data structures, deciding what kind of data system will handle and how it will be structured. So, variety of data structures are available. How to supply data to the program with the help of these structures, and planning the data management, establishing a plan of how data will be saved, used, managed, updated, deleted, all operations, how it can be supported, ensuring data integrity. So, the software can maintain data integrity. Variety of integrity constraints are used for this purpose, like unique data maintenance, primary key, foreign key, etc. Enabling scalability, ensuring that the software can scale as needed. The importance of data design is it creates a model of data and information is represented at a high level of abstraction, and the data objects, attributes, relationships can be modeled in entity relationship diagrams, and the information stored in data dictionary provide a base for the data design activity. And during data design process, data types are specified along with integrity rules required for the data. So, the security and the primary features, what type of data, how much length of the data, what are the integrity constraints that are applied on the data, how it can be stored, retrieved, that can be represented with high level abstraction and can be modeled with IARE diagram. So, the architecture of the system is, if it all data centered architecture, a data store will reside at the center of this architecture and is accessed frequently by the other component that update, add, delete or modify the data present within the data store. So, data centered architecture will promote integrability, and the existing component can be changed and new client component can be added to the architecture without permission or consents of other clients. This diagram illustrates the data center architecture. The data store sits at the center and other client softwares can use and access it. So, the data can be added, modified, as well as changes can be made with the help of client softwares without taking permission from other client softwares. The advantage of this data-centered architecture is repository of data is independent of clients. Client work independent of each other. It may simple to add additional clients. Modification can be very easy. So, the data design is the process of organizing, storing and managing data in a software system. It is a crucial step in the software development because it ensures the data is accessible, accurate and secure. Data integrity must be maintained. Data design elements are used to create a model that data represents a high level of abstraction. This model is then refined into a more implementation specific representation that computer based system can be processed. So, the data architectural design generally involves the data which can have three views of data. the conceptual view, the logical view, and the physical model. The physical model must be used to store and access from the data store. And this data manages by data architect for the analysis. So here during the conceptual model, the user can use any data DBMS programming so that he can create or modify, add, delete, and perform variety of database operations at the conceptual level. So the user can access it. But internally, the logical relationship, how the data is stored, is represented in the logical model. But physically, at the hard disk, in the database, how data is stored is represented in the physical model. So the levels of data design must be at the program component level. The design of data structure and algorithms required to manipulate them is necessary. High quality of software is designed at the component level of data. And at the application level, it is crucial to convert the data model into database so that specific business objectives of a system could be achieved. At the business level, the collection of information stored in different databases should be recognized into data warehouse, which enables data mining that has an influential impact on the business. So, data from heterogeneous databases can be stored in the data warehouse, and knowledge discovery algorithms are required to retrieve the required data from the warehouse. The principles of data design is the data structures needed for implementing the software as well as operations that can be applied on them should be identified. So, the data along with its operations must be identified. The data dictionary should be developed to depict how different data objects interact with each other and what constraints are to be imposed on the elements of data structure. So, how they are related with other tables in the databases, what are the rules or conditions posed on the data is represented with the help of data dictionary. A library containing set of usable data structures along with the operations that can be performed on them should be maintained. The factors that can influence the data architecture is majorly the business requirements. So this includes the expansion of business as well as performance of the system access, data management, transaction management, making use of raw data by converting into images, video files, audio files, and storing the data in the data warehouse depending upon the business domain as well as organizational rules are concentrated. The next one is business policies. The policies are the rules that are useful for describing the way of processing of the data. Not only this, the other factors are technology in use. So this including using of previously completed data, that is architectural design, and also using existing licensed software purchases, database technology. Business economics. The economical factors such as business growth, the loss, interest rates, loans, conditions of the market can also be imply a significant impact on the data design. And data processing needs are the another factor which includes the mining of the data, large continuous transactions, database management, other data pre-processing needs are considered during data processing needs. Variety of processing methods can be used like sequential, random, ISM. So, which type of organization of data retrieving mechanisms and processing methods can be concentrated. The need for data management. Data management is the process of managing tasks like extracting data, storing data, transforming data, processing data, and securing the data at low cost consumption. So, main motive of data management is to manage and safeguard people's and organizations' data in an optimal way. So, this can be easily create, access, delete and update the data. So because data management is an essential process in each and every enterprise growth, without which the policies and decisions cannot be made for the business enhancement. So large volumes of data like big data are harder to manage. So we must utilize optimal technologies, tools for data management such as Hadoop, Scala, Tableau, AWS, which is used further for the big data analysis in achieving improvements in the patterns. Data management can be achieved by training the employees necessarily maintained by the DBA, database administrator, data analyst as well as data architects. So data dictionary is a major tool for recording the processing the information. The metadata is maintained in an organization that can be used for the reference. A central catalog for the metadata. In simple, it can be data about metadata and can be integrated with DBMS or to be separately maintained. So by using this data dictionary, what are the columns or fields that can be managed in the database or the data store? What type of data? What is the length of the data type? What are the integrity constraints posed on it? Must be clearly understood. The elements of data design are majorly three elements are concentrated. One is the objects, second one attributes and the relationships. Objects are used to simulate the real-time entities. Attributes are the data upon which these objects can operate and how the objects can related is pictorially represented with the relationship. If you consider an object, a passenger, the name, address is or the driver license number are the data for a driver. If you consider a car, the data attributes are make, model, ID number, body type and color. And how these two objects must be related. A driver owns a car. This is the relationship. So data modeling, determining and structuring the data elements and their connections in an ordered manner is called the data modeling. It gives or develops insights into the storage, retrieval and manipulation of data in a system and act as a guide for the database design. Data modeling techniques are generally the ER diagram, UML class diagram and normalization. The ER diagram is illustration of relationships between entities using the shapes and lines and is called an entity relationship diagram. UML class diagrams also include the classes and the data and attributes relationships in the object-oriented system are modeled. And in the normalization, this technique involves organizing data in a database to reduce redundancy, dependency by organizing fields in the table of database. So, ER diagrams are the major means of modeling the database design. The entity relationship diagram is a type of flowchart that illustrates how entities such as people, object, concepts related to each other within a system. An ER model describes interrelated things of interest in a specific domain of the knowledge. So this is one example of the ER diagram. Here the entities can be student and the course. So these entities are having the attributes or the data upon which these entities can be operated. Like the student can have the attributes student ID, student name and student age. For the course, the attributes must be course ID, course name. How these two entities are related is represented as a relation of study, student study course. The emerging trends in the data modeling are graph database modeling. With the rise of graph databases, data modeling techniques specific to graph structures and gaining importance. Another method is machine learning data modeling. ML algorithms are being employed to assist the creation of data models. They can analyze large data sets in order to identify the patterns and relationship, aiding in the modeling processes. And temporal data modeling, as the need to track and analyze data over time increases. And temporal data modeling is become more relevant, and it involves capturing and managing historical data and that data changes over time. The advantages of this modeling is clarity and understanding. Data modeling provides a clear visual representation of the data structures, which facilitates understanding of the system's data requirements by developers, stakeholders, and even non-technical individuals. So all the stakeholders and all parties that are involved in the development of the project are clearly understood with the data modeling. The consistency and integrity, the rules that are imposed on the data are also easily modeled. So data consistency and integrity are ensured by solid data models. By doing this, irregularities, duplications, errors are in the information are avoided, and efficiency is increased. Database operations are more efficient when data is properly organized. So this can shorten the time to take to retrieve, update and perform all DBMS operations, and query processing is also easy. The scalability, a well-designed data model can accommodate growth and changes in data requirements over time. It provides flexible structure that can adapt evolving business needs. Collaboration, data models provide developers, analysts, and stakeholders with consistent language. This encourages teamwork and efficient communication throughout the development process. So in this video, I discuss briefly regarding what is software architecture, how data is concentrated in the architecture, what is data management, how data can be modeled, what are the importance of data model, and what are the advantages of the data modeling, what are the recent trends in the data modeling. So the references that are used in this video are these. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.